As technology has become more prevalent in the 21st century, it has led to a rise to easy accessibility of National Football League games. This rise in availability has revolutionized these athletes into superstars that are worshipped every Sunday for at least 16 weeks a year. As these players are publicized all over, they also give up their privacy. This controversy leads into one of the most controversial questions in sports today. What factors contribute to such a high post-career bankruptcy percentage in the National Football League? This complex question can be broken down into 5 subtopics, which include the uncertainty of NFL careers, contracts, lack of economic ability, money in the National Football League, and the decisions of retired athletes. The most confusing and unpredictable section of this question comes from the uncertainty of NFL careers. In this research paper, there are 5 sources that dissect the topic and aim to create a complete understanding for this ongoing phenomenon. The sources in this research paper that discuss the uncertainty of a career in the NFL give examples of injuries that have caused players to retire, protests by NFL athletes, and other events that have caused players to end their careers in a surprising way. A source that explains this in great detail is Upending NFL Heteronormativity with a Piece of Cake. This article provides a very important summary of how the NFL has a way of controlling its players. In the article, former star for the University of Missouri, Michael Sam, is depicted. Sam was considered a top 3 draft pick months following the draft, but just before the draft, Sam came out as gay. As it got a lot of attention online, it did not help him in the draft room. Michael Sam fell to the very last round of the NFL draft and eventually was notified that he did not make the team. Another subtopic for the question is the complexity of the contract in the National Football League. For the past several years in the NFL has had an extremely difficult time collaborating with their players on what a fair contract is. This topic includes 7 sources, of which include the current contracts of current NFL athletes, the complexity of contract guarantees in the National Football League, and other aspects of the contract besides the listed value. One of the sources used dissects the current contract of Kareem Hunt. This source is vital to the academic paper as a whole, as it identifies bonuses and limitations for the rising star. By combining this source with others, the goal is to reflect an understanding of contracts in the NFL to the audience.
Torius Williams to the main office. Torius Williams to the main office.
These 2 topics are very complex, but when combined with how much money the NFL generates, it becomes even more confusing. To combat this problem, this research includes 3 sources that show exactly where the National Football League gets its money and how much it makes. The numbers are truly mind-boggling, so the sources come from authors that have a detailed background in the economics of sports. For example, The Economist. The section also includes statistics that build the backbone of the mixed method research process. The final 2 topics used to answer this controversial question are very similar. The topics are labeled Decisions of Retired Athletes and Lack of Economic Ability of NFL Athletes. Together, these topics show the effectiveness of the preparation these athletes planning to play professionally receive. By going into detail and giving examples of retired NFL players that have failed to invest their money wisely, this topic shows that most athletes that play in the NFL have received little to no training in financial aspects of life. An article that helps express the importance of this topic is more than 15% of NFL players go bankrupt within 12 years of retiring. Together, these 5 sources attempt to explain why there is such a high post-career bankruptcy percentage in the National Football League. By complementing each other, these subtopics help to provide an explanation of the legitimate factors that derail NFL athletes' financial stability. My research question is, why is there such a high post-career bankruptcy percentage in the National Football League? To begin research, I created surveys to ask questions to current and former NFL athletes along with agents that were created and sent out. The initial goal was to survey no more than 10 to 15 current NFL athletes, 10 to 15 former NFL athletes, and 5 agents that worked in the NFL. In order to get the best results, the attempt aimed to incorporate both numbers and descriptive responses, making the research fall in the mixed method section. In a mixed method, a researcher combines numbers and descriptions through the use of both qualitative and quantitative data. All people involved in the research receive the same question based on their respective group. For all groups, questions were asked based on a scale of 1 through 4. For example, current athletes were asked, answer these questions to the best of your ability on a scale of 1 through 4. 1 being the worst, 4 being the best. The first question these athletes were asked were 1. On a scale of 1 through 4, how well do you believe you are saving your money? 2. On a scale of 1 to 4, how much do you use the benefits listed in your contract to your ability? And 3, on a scale of 1 through 4, how well do you think you'll be treated by the National Football League? The former athletes were asked, answer these questions to the best of your ability on a scale of 1 through 4, 1 being the worst, 4 being the best. 1. On a scale of 1 through 4, how much pain did your playing career cause you? 2. On a scale of 1 through 4, how much would you recommend playing in the National Football League? And 3. On a scale of 1 through 4, what would you rate the National Football League's current progress on player safety? The agents were asked to answer questions as well in the following format. Answer these questions to the best of your ability on a scale of 1 through 4, 1 being the worst and 4 being the best. 1. How well do you think your clients saved their finances on a scale of 1 through 4? 2. On a scale of 1 through 4, what would you rate the effectiveness of the progress of rules to improve player safety in the National Football League? And 3. If you sponsor athletes in any other professional sports, what would you rate athletes in the National Football League compared to them in terms of responsibility? After sending out questions, I received 0 responses, forcing me to change my research process. After the failed attempt, the new research process included asking prospective college athletes what three things college recruiters focus on. To accomplish this goal, high school athletes will respond to several questions on a pre-made survey. The survey will allow the athletes to show where recruiters focus on selling a school to athletes. By pursuing this research, the surveys will incorporate a mixed method design into my final research paper. The mixed method will be an embedded design. In an embedded design, a researcher is responsible for gathering both qualitative and quantitative data, but one section of the research dominates. In my research, quantitative research will dominate. To prove my point that there are legitimate factors in the National Football League, I must gather quantitative responses from athletes being actively recruited with professional dreams, and also research quantitative data to prove my research is credible. I expect my research to take anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks. After I gather my results, I will incorporate them into my paper in order to prove that financial stability is not a focus of these athletes till they consider retirement.